and welcome to Woodstock Regional Artists. I'm your host, Sal Miccio, coming to you from my home studio in West Hurley, New York, along with our producer-engineer, David Lax, at the controls in Studio A in Saugerties, New York. Tonight, our special guest is a composer, guitarist, and band leader, Kurt Henry. Good evening, Kurt, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Sal. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
You're associated with a number of bands here. Dog Nose, Kurt Henry Band, the Wobblers, the Dharma Bums, Great Northeastern, Hip Shot, Duck Soup, the Bush Brothers Band, The Bridge. Boy, you got a lot of bands that you've played with over the years. Which ones are active at the moment?
Well, actually, the Kurt Henry Band became Dog Nose because for I think at least a zillion years or more, I have tried to find a name for a band that I didn't really like having an eponymous name. But no matter what name I came up with, nobody ever liked it. So finally, I made an executive decision. And I said, Dog Nose.
Kurt, who were your earlier influences in music?
I listened to a lot of Dylan. Like a lot of people, I love the British Invasion. I'm still a big fan of the Zombies, by the way. But I love the Beatles and I love the Stones and in folk music, I got into folk music when I was in high school when I met new people who had acoustic guitars as opposed to electric guitars, and I began to like people like Phil Oak. I also fell in love with the Byrds, and I think they were very influential on me. The country rock thing just absolutely slayed me. I was a huge fan of their guitarist Clarence White, who played country music with country licks and a rock and roll attitude and rock and roll tone, and that was the thing. I mean, that was the real thing for me.
You have a number of CDs out here. Love Enough, One.
Love
you have
Enough.
One called One. Heart, Mind, and All. From Our Religions Will Be Free. That's an interesting one. Flaming.
Yeah.
Flaming June. Okay. And Catskill Dogs, Dog Nose. Which one is the newest one?
Catskill Dogs is the newest CD.
Catskill Dogs.
In fact, that's still in the boxes because we got the CDs, and guess what we didn't do? We didn't play out.
So they're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
All right, let's look at one of your videos. This one is from the album Heart, Mind, and All. It's entitled Heart, Mind, and All, Kurt Henry Band.
Watching you swear, my eyes can't help but I sail off to some distant country. Why should I stay in these chains only you could take from me, or dance with the dagger, his blood or mine? For what is my life if he makes you his wife, velvet lady? Just give me the sign. You have me in love when some sweet lady has slipped with I fall. You have me in love when some sweet lady has slipped with I fall. You have me in love when some sweet lady has slipped with I fall. You have me in love when some sweet lady has slipped with I fall.
All right, that was really upbeat. I recognize Eric Parker. Who are the other band members in that video?
Alan Groth is playing bass. Alan has been playing with me. He goes back to the Womblers, so I played with Alan in the 70s. Ross Rice, some of you might know from Roll Magazine, and he's back in the area, who is an absolute, can I say ass-kicking?
Sure.
Absolute ass-kicking Hammond B3 player on that is wonderful. And Eric Parker was particularly wonderful that night because one of his students was watching him.
Oh, okay.
And of course, we're all a lot younger.
Yeah, it was great. It was very good. You have a number of different genres that you play in: contemporary acoustic, through urban country rock, Caribbean rhythm and blues, modern jazz influence. Which one of these genres do you prefer playing in?
That's a question that question has always been problematic for me because I don't really write in a genre. Maybe I may have sat down and purposely tried to write a country song because you might put your ducks in a line, like I have one pickup truck and one bottle of beer. Anything else that I write is really accidental and has I probably, like a lot of people, I sit down with my guitar and my guitar playing is very eclectic. As you mentioned, I've played with a lot of different bands and played a reasonable amount of different music. So whatever comes out of my guitar, and it could be a mistake. I mean, who knows? If that becomes a song, then that might determine the genre. And then again, I may decide to take that song and do one of the movements within the song, one of the episodes, slightly differently. So I have a sort of a country rock bluegrass song that has an episode that's reggae.
Uh-huh.
But that's fine. I mean, I don't really have a problem with it because I don't really believe in genres.
Okay.
And I really don't think at heart that a lot of musicians do. I think genres are something that's decided by radio stations and how they market the music. I don't really think it comes so much from the musicians. At least not today. I think historically, yes.
That's interesting. Yes, I kind of agree with you on that. So over the years, you've jammed and gained some experience from some interesting people here: David Bromberg, Artie Traum, Chuck Berry, Jay Unger, Elvin Bishop. Recently, you've had shared the stage with John Sebastian, David Sanchez, Ross Rice, Larry Packer, Harvey Kaiser, Peter Bittner, and Peter Levin. Boy, there's a group of some great players here that you.
I know, isn't it great? Honestly, I have to say, I'm so glad I live here. Two things. I'm glad of two things. I'm so glad that I live here, and so glad that I'm good friends with Eric Parker, because that was the key that opened up the door to so much music I've done in the last 10 years since I've retired, and in the last 20 years since meeting Eric.
That's great. Yeah. So here we have another video we're going to look at. It is also from a titled song from one of the albums. It's called Love's Enough. Let's look at it and talk about it on the other side. Here is Kurt Henry, Love's Enough.
So this is my best song, and the reason I say that is because it's a song I wrote for my anniversary of my marriage with Cheryl. World, enough anywhere with you by my side, halfway through love's day. We walk, watching as the time passes by. Love's enough as the waters rise on the sand, on the shrinking shore. We walk side by side with hand held in hand. Love's enough to fill up all our day. Only love's enough for us. Love's enough to help us wend our way, and it's in our love we trust. Time's too short, we will never sing all our song. It's there among the leaves that change, sighing as the wind moves them on. Love's enough to fill up all our day. Only love's enough for us. Love's enough to help us wend our way, and it's in our love we trust. Love's enough, lasting through the hours of our day, hours that pass us by. These dreams, lovely as they fall, soft away.
All right, that was really sweet. I love your picking in that tune. I just could listen to that kind of picking all night long. What influenced you in writing that tune?
That's a process, Sal. I think here's what happened. I was writing the tune on the way to Martha's Vineyard, and I remember taking out my guitar on the ferry and practicing and working out the parts. I had wanted it to be an anniversary present for Cheryl, but writing intimate love songs is not necessarily my forte. I like humorous love songs, but I'm not always good at the intimate love songs. So I struggled past that anniversary. I was able to write those lyrics, and finally they were good enough to give to my wife. So that's the story behind it. Why the guitar part got so well developed before the lyrics did.
It's a nice story.
And I love to play it. I have to say, I love to play that song. So thank you for noticing it, because it's one of my favorite songs to play.
It is. It's a pleasure to listen to. Definitely is. You've opened for some internationally associated bands, Procol Harum, The Birds, Sleep at the Wheel, Junior Walker, Jose Feliciano, and the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Tell us some of your experiences in opening for these people.
Well, it's always an amazing thing to be an opening act. I think the people that I really, really enjoyed were the people who understood that, who really knew that, who came in to meet the band, to say hello. And so I remember the Birds because I loved the Birds and because they were nice. And that's all I think that's all I ask from people. And I, like I said, I got to meet Clarence White, who was one of my heroes. I got to meet McGuinn, who was very, very nice and polite. Of course, they were busy and everything. Another band that holds up to me that way, it was another band I absolutely adored, was Procol Harum. And Procol Harum was really the first band for me to put together that guitar, piano, and Hammond organ band with bass and drums. But they were really fabulous. And while they were, I also became friends that night with B.J. Wilson, the drummer, and I hung out with B.J. Wilson, who was a friend of Eric Parker and was in the Joe Cocker band before Eric Parker. Another band mentioned in that regard too was Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, who were also really nice and hung out and watched our band, saw our band, and liked it a lot.
It says here that your guitar style is derived from your music that you habitually played. Did you take lessons, or did you just pick this up on your own? How did this come about, your guitar style?
Well, I took guitar lessons from a drummer.
From a drummer?
But the drummer was a pretty good chords and melody guitar player, and I took guitar lessons. A fellow named Mickey McGann. I grew up on Long Island, and he worked and lived at the local music center, the music store, Massapequa Music, and Mickey was into the current bossa nova craze. Girl from Ipanema, Quiet Nights of Quiet Stars, and so my assignments were very often to do a bossa song, and then work them be able to play with chords and melody. Uh-huh. And I thought that was an impossible task. I did the best I could, came back and got the songs as well as I could. And today the couple of songs I played that are bossa songs probably come out of that in some way. Another one is Steve Berg, who a lot of people in Woodstock know. And Steve Berg was another person who who sat down with me, and we worked things through and encouraged me to. I mean, he was a good soloist, but we'd be playing in the band together, and he'd say, Kurt, you take the solo here. You take the solo here.
So listen, now I think we'll look at another video. This was very interesting. I had a good time watching this one. I watched it a couple times. It's called Shadow Bride. Shadow Bride. Here's Kurt Henry and Shadow Bride.
There was a man who dwelt alone, as days and nights went past. He sat as still as carven stone, and yet no shadow cast. The White House perched upon his head, beneath the winter's moon, wiped their beaks and thought him dead beneath the stars of June. There came a lady clad in gray, all in the twilight shining. One moment she would stand and stay, her hair with flowers entwining. He woke as had he sprung from stone, and broke the spell that bound him. Clasped her fast, both flesh and bone, shadow around you. There nevermore she walks her ways, neath sun nor moon nor star. She dwells below where neither days nor any nights there are. But once a year when caverns yawn and hidden fades away, they dance together then till dawn, and a single shadow make.
Okay, that was a nice a poem that seems to be you put music to. Tell us about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It was nice.
Well, that was a melody written by a friend of mine named Stephen J. Altman, who was the manager of the Folklore Center in New York City, which was a real center for people who played acoustic guitar. Some of us know it because they had our favorite guitar tech in the world there, Ed Deal. So I've known that song for many, many years. And he also turned me on to J.R.R. Tolkien. So that's two pretty powerful things.
Nice.
But isn't that a marvelous melody?
So listen, your current band consists of Alan. Can you tell us about your current band?
Sure. Alan Groth, who's been with me for years and years, is in that band, is the bassist. Cheryl plays percussion, harmonica, and sings the vocals and helps out with the sound. She does a lot of sound stuff. But Eric's been there since 2004. When the band originally started out, Steve Berg was a member for a while. Harvey Kaiser was a member for a while. Ross Rice was a member for a while. So, but what we found is the money hasn't gotten any better and the venues have gotten worse.
So listen, it says here that you were the you got the Educator of Excellence Award in 1996 from the New York State English Council.
Right.
Ulster Orange BOCES, Superintendent's Award for Public Service. You were a teacher for a long time. Tell us about that.
25 years. Yeah, 25 years I had the good fortune of being an English teacher.
So here we go. We're in a kind of a wait and see attitude here with this pandemic and everything. And the next tune just happens to be entitled Wait and See. I'd like to bring Cheryl in on this. Where are you, honey?
Here I am.
Cheryl Lambert. There you are.
Yeah.
Your partner in crime, and she is on this album. Cheryl, I love you playing harmonica, and I like to hear more ladies play harmonica because it is very sweet. So without further ado, let's listen to Wait and See. Kurt Henry, Cheryl Lambert.
Summer evenings, warm sunny days. End of the cold days, summer at last. Love is the answer. Time goes so fast. End of the cold days, summer at last. Love is the answer. Time goes so fast. We're back in motion, racing the night. Out of the shadows, into moonlight. You in my memory, you here with me. One and one make true. Wait and see. Wait and see. Wait and see.
You also have collaborated with Kurt on a lot of tunes. I noticed you're shaking that egg and with rhythm and vocalizing behind him. You enjoy that, don't you?
I do. I like playing percussion. I've learned a lot from Eric Parker, who when he's playing drums, he really keeps such a steady beat. It's easy to pick that up from him.
One of the best, definitely one of the best. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, we're coming towards the end of the show, and I'd like to mention some things. First of all, you have a website. It's called dognoseband.com. You have a Facebook page, Dog Nose Band in Facebook. And
Please go to the Dog Nose page and please buy our CD, Catskill Dogs. We are giving your entire purchase price to food banks in the Hudson Valley. So, in other words, the recording and paying the players is on us. Please come and consider seeing one of our Thursday night shows. It's called Live in the 9 Mile Swamp. Right now, we are in Studio B, on the very edge of the 9 Mile Swamp.
there you go, folks. You buy a Dog Nose CD, and all of the proceeds goes to a local food pantry, which is a great thing that Kurt and Cheryl are doing here. Folks, thank you very much for spending some time with us. We really enjoyed the stories and the music, and we hope to see you live. We will tune into your live stream on Thursdays. And again, we really appreciate you coming on. And we've had a great time tonight.
Sal, it's wonderful to
Thank
see
you.
you up and running again.
Thank you.
We're so fortunate to have you. Thank you so much for interviewing us.
Thank you, folks. That's our show for this evening. There'll be another show next Tuesday with a special guest. Until then, be safe out there and support your local artists in any way you can. Thank you and good night.